Hello, everybody, and very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant Weekly Show, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, a podcast network for accountants and bookkeepers supported by our Patreon community. Speaking of which, we start each and every show with a shout out to our coolest of cool listeners, who are Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahu, and Peter Richardson. If you'd like to show your support to our channel and content and get your name on this coveted list and find some other bonus content, then why not join our Patreon page found at the link below. Oh, Johann, it's been a busy week. It's been a very busy week, actually, hasn't it? I mean, whew.
Hasn't it just?
Yes. Yes. Catch your breath sort of week, isn't it? What's happened to yourself this week? Talk us through it. How's it been? How's it going? The floor is yours.
I've had quite a chilled weekend. The wife's been away, so I've got some work done. I've changed some door handles. I've changed some light switches. I've had a pretty enjoyable weekend. But after the week before, I needed it. So yeah, very busy week last week. I think I'm just stood here now. I think my knees are still bad from Fab, and standing on the stand all day. It was 2 days of. There's a lot of mixed feedback about Fab, and we'll go into that. But for tax calc and engager, it was just 2 days. Like day one, there was 8 of us on the stand, and we couldn't get a break from a conversation for 4.5 hours. We were slammed. Day two, much quieter, but still, it wasn't until late afternoon that we were really able to start taking lunch breaks and stuff. It was, for engager and tax calc, it was a very, very, there's no official stats, but I'd say we had the busiest stand of the event by far, if I'm honest, based on what I'm hearing from everyone else. But yeah, it was a busy few days, and obviously stick on top of that a bit of travel there and back, and then stick on top of that, you've still got to do all your meetings and your usual chat and stuff, and all your usual daily tasks either side of it. It becomes a very hectic week. How was your week?
Just as hectic, yeah, madness. Again, we'll talk about Fab itself and all that sort of stuff later, but yeah, like you said, you add that in, traveling, all that sort of stuff. It is crazy, isn't it? It was a Formula 1 weekend as well, so we had very early Formula 1 weekend.
So if we weren't tired already, our sleep patterns were ruined after that.
Yeah, a couple of times having to wake up. What was it? 2:30 in the morning for the sprint? Was it quali or sprint race? One of the two.
3:00 in the morning was the sprint, and then 7:30 or 7 o'clock for the qualifying, and then 7 o'clock Sunday for the race. It was testing, shall we say, for the sleep patterns.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I went to a podcast. I went to see the Off Menu podcast in London, which your wife went to as well, didn't she?
That's where she was, and she sent me a picture saying, "I've seen Aaron and Chrissy."
we were in some box or so. Sometimes I do wonder how Chrissy gets these tickets, but yeah, no, we were in some sort of box or something. It was very, very fancy, but it was very good. But again, that was a trip there and a trip back. It was like we had that crazy weekend. We just start again. As soon as I finish this, I'm traveling to Leeds. It's like, when does it stop? When do we get to just calm down? So yeah. But it is what it is. But we wouldn't be where we are without our amazing. Oh, and just quickly on the Formula 1, brilliant race. Really enjoyed it. Loving these new regulations. Loving even more the fact that Max is upset about it. So I think everyone's happy. Anything to add to that?
The fact that it was a good race. But we all knew the real highlight and entertainment was coming from Max in the press conference because he was upset. Is it?
Yeah.
I think that shows you our feelings towards Max Verstappen.
It sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? It sums it up perfectly. Just before we go to the comments, actually, apologies to our. They're not going to hear us. I don't know why I'm saying apologies. But if you're listening back an hour later, our LinkedIn's broken again. So I think we had problems with it last week. It seems to have happened again. Got error message popping up all over the place.
I'm wondering if LinkedIn's changed their rules about letting other softwares stream into it.
Maybe.
You know, like did ages ago.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how they get. And yeah, and apologies to the Instagram people as well, because I've only just turned you on. So you missed a great intro, by the way. I'd go back later and listen to the intro. All righty then. We won't be anywhere without an amazing community. We have first in the door was Kirsty St. John. Good morning, everyone. Sunny in March. Very good. Yep, very much like that. And thank you for Kirsty for sorting out the meal at the end of Fab as well. It was very nice. We went for a bit of a Pizza Express. Yeah, it was Pizza Express. No, it was Pizza Express. I tried to think which pizza establishment it is. We've been to so many lately. Was it Pizza Punks for Ash's stag do?
Yeah.
Pizza Express. Well, very nice. Thank you for sorting that. Kirsty. Marcus Baston says, good morning, chaps. Good morning to you too. Cheryl CPS Bookkeeping says, good morning after a weekend of heavy rain. The sun is out again. Oh, it's so much better when the sun is out, isn't it? The dog very much was appreciated that on the walk this morning. Mahul says, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend as well as Fab last week. Yeah, you were very much missed, Mahal. I hope everything went well. Your end. Paul, speaking of someone who's missed it, Fab. Paul Whitehouse says, good morning, all. Good morning to you. Paul Ingram says, good morning, all. Susanna says, morning. And me and Susanna and a hashtag audio Amy did a podcast live on the show floor. Keep your ears out for that one. Lisa, oh, by the way, these are from LinkedIn, so it looks like some of them are working from LinkedIn. Lisa said, good morning to you, Lisa. Clive says, good morning, chaps. Good morning to you as well, Clive. Susanna says, good morning and nice to see you as well at the event and to everyone else we saw. Kirsty says, live on YouTube seems to be the cool way. Oh, it is by far the cool way as well. Yeah, you keep watching on YouTube, everyone. Although we're not monetized yet, so it'll be even more cooler when that goes monetized. Paul Whitehouse
When we start earning our 2p a week.
Yeah. We get it all adds up. Do you know what they say? Look after the pence, the pounds look after themselves. Paul Whitehouse says, start the event season and you're already falling apart, feeling the pain. Yeah, more on that in a minute.
I think you always feel the pain of the first one because it's like the first time you go back to the gym. Not that I've ever been to a gym, so I wouldn't know. I'm just guessing. But if you've had a break from the gym, the first time you go back, I imagine that would be quite painful just to start getting back into the routine of things.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll be limbered up for the next one. I'm listening on LinkedIn, says Susanna, so it is working on that one. Speaking of superhero, bookkeeper superhero, Natasha, good morning to you. And what a podcast she recorded live on the floor. Juliet McKenna says, morning all. Good morning to you, Juliet. Oh, what a week it is. Let's start off with Fab then. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where it was. Let's do a recap of where it is from my point of view. I'll start first. Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough one. If you know our story with Fab, we started with Fab on the very first one and we had our little podcast studio over there and it was a very good event. There was room for improvement, so we asked for some improvements. That happened for the next time, and we had what was called Studio Fab. And the concept of Studio Fab, I love. I absolutely love Fab. The idea that they wanted is to celebrate a podcasting industry, invite all the podcasts over. We have a little area hosted by Ask the Accountant. We provide the equipment, we provide the expertise, we provide like someone manning the stand, blah, 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 blah. And we produce this quality content based on like celebrating the podcast industry within the accounting and bookkeeping industry. Someone forgot to read the memo for this year because we turned up and all of that has kind of gone by the wayside, even though we were talking to him all the way up. And shout out to the team at Fab, like the ones we were involved with, amazing. A guy called Greg, he was brilliant. He was like sorting his back and forth and all this, that, and the other. But when we turned up at 2:30 on the day to find out that we didn't actually have a stand this time, or at least not a stand that was, suitable, I was a bit disappointed to say the least. I think Johann saw a different side of me on the morning as
it was
we
a
arrived.
bloody delight to work with.
as 2:30 rolled on to, what was it, 7 o'clock at night. Bear in mind, we couldn't do anything in this. We couldn't even unpack at this point because we had nowhere. We didn't have. They were rebuilding as a new stand. Yeah, it meant that we basically had to go home. We had to leave all our stuff just in the room without being locked under key. We then had to arrive nice and early in the morning. That's when Johann heard some choice words from myself. Yeah, and the rest of the event, look, I love the concept of Fab. I actually much prefer it when it was festivals, other than this new finance direction they're going. I feel like there's room in the calendar for it. I feel like the community likes having something to start the year off with that's, in the middle of Birmingham and everything else. But I don't know. I personally enjoyed the talks. I was on the main stage talking about AML. That was very fun. I was with KPM talking about MTD. That was a well-attended event. Like the talks and those aspects absolutely smash. I think they're brilliant. But for us, the accountant personally, it just felt almost, is embarrassing the right word? Like we have a standard we want to provide. Like if people are coming to use our equipment and they want to come use our, setup to do their podcasts, we want to give them the files and the content in the best possible quality, right? And when you're rushing it, and when you're space constrained, and when you can't set up all your equipment because you don't have that space, when you're struggling to get sound right because you're just in the floor without having any sound dampening, and it just feels really, really like I feel responsible for the quality of it, and I feel responsible for inviting these people to the podcast area. We were promoting it as like last year as this place that you could come along and listen to your favorite podcast, ask some questions, correspond with your podcasters, like celebrate their thing, have a live studio podcast recording. That concept is cool, right? That concept's quite a thing, quite unique in our industry. But all that went to the wayside because it wasn't, we in the nice possible way, we were forgotten about. And when we've had all this correspondence, we're back and forth, we're spending all this time, all this resources on getting there and everything else. It's just frustrating. So yeah, I don't know if we'll ever go back to Fab, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, that's as ASCII accountant that is. But yeah, that's where it is for me. What about you, Johan? I feel like you had a better experience overall.
I mean, Tax Calc and Engager had a fantastic 2 days. But when I speak to other exhibitors throughout those 2 days, they weren't overly happy. They weren't overly impressed. They've gone too clinical. I didn't like the first time we went to Fab and it was the festival. They had all those random types of chairs and stuff, and there was personality, there was character, there was community, etc. There, I just felt it'd gone too clinical, almost back to how it used to be in Coventry. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's lost its personality, personally. But yeah, other exhibitors weren't overly thrilled from the feedback they were giving me about attendance levels, quality of conversations and stuff. Like Free Agent did very well. Like Zero seemed to be always busy. Sage were always busy. The big names, we did okay out of it. Like, but I know a lot of the smaller softwares that were kind of there to try and get a bit of PR, but then they were against the side walls, and there was just no traffic and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I say, Engage and Tatscout, fantastic 2 days. Nick and I did a speaking session on day one, and it was on one of those. It was on one of the Fab stages at the side, and we were like, "Oh, that'd be a dozen people there. We'll go and do our 20-minute slot. We won't. The stand was mental, so it's like we'll be back as soon as we can." Nick and I walked over to find all the seats are taken, standing room only for like 3 people deep. The sound technicians fighting to find more headphones for them all to hear us. It was incredibly well attended. So yeah, so for Engager, we had a phenomenal 2 days. day 2 was significantly quieter. Like, you know, day 1, as I said, like from about 10:30 on day 1 through to 3:30, might have even been more like 10 o'clock on day 1 through to 3:30. There was 8 of us on the stand and we were slammed for the whole period. Like we couldn't get lunch breaks in. We couldn't, it was literally back-to-back conversations. Day 2, there were 6 of us on the stand, and the longest part where we hadn't stopped to talk to each other was like 45 minutes. Like, yeah. And after lunch, that was tedious. So I think it's a great one-day event. I don't understand why everyone's got it into their heads. Everything's got to be a 2-day event. Like the amount of people, I think I've not had numbers, but I would say the amount of people that came in through the doors on day 1 and 2 over Fab, Accountex Manchester probably put in the room on one day last year. So, because Accountex Manchester had a phenomenal year last year. They had like nearly 4,000 or something people, didn't they, in one day? I'd be surprised if Fab, once you get rid of the people that were there on day 2, actually were on their day 1 as well. And if you get the unique scans sorted and get rid of all the exhibitors, I'd be surprised if they've pushed past that, if I'm honest. I could be completely wrong, but gut feel of being on the show floor, yeah, it's a one-day event, and there's no shame in that. There's no harm in being a one-day event. You could do an absolutely amazing one-day event. Accountex Manchester does a phenomenal. It's one of our favourite one-day events. Although part of that is our favourite hotel, which no longer exists. So that could be
might go down in whole
now. But yeah, like I don't know. As I say, from an exhibitor's point of view, Tax Calc and Engager had a phenomenal 2 days. No after party as such, no band or anything this year. I don't know. I just felt the community aspect was lacking. So yeah, it's not up to me whether Tax Calc and Engager go back next year. But yeah, it's. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they see as a return on investment and stuff like that. But yeah, it highs and lows. Whereas other events you go to, it's like you just go, oh, phenomenal 2 days or phenomenal day. Like you just, and when you speak to other exhibitors, it's like everyone's kind of on the same point of feedback and stuff. Whereas this was very peaks and troughs in feedback from what I was talking to fellow exhibitors about on day 2. And Fab, if you don't want exhibitors talking to each other about how good or bad it isn't, make sure you fill day 2 with lots of people so we can't escape the stands to talk to each other.
Or don't have a day 2.
Or don't have a day 2.
Again, like the people there are amazing. Like the people organising it, your Accounting Web team. It's always an honour to see them on the floor, right? Like, and they came to our pod and they were talking there. We had a game of Top Trumps with them, and like all of that stuff top tier. Love that aspect of it. Like that's the uniqueness of it, right? We're bringing that uniqueness there. As Susanna says there, no Greek food van this year. So yeah, that was an upset that we didn't have that amazing food that was there. And I haven't had anything to think. I think that whole VIP section thing, I mean, we joked about it, like laughing and joking about it by, with a speakers thing. But I was using that one area just to get water. Because there was no other water in the whole of the
like water refill stations. There was further out back in the NEC.
Yeah, but it wasn't outside the door, was it? It was all the way up to the thing, all the way back. And when you're like, 10 minutes before you're due on stage, just want some water, right? And even the VIP section ran out of water multiple times. And anyway, that VIP section, again, I love the concept of it, but you were saying how people were turning up to Tax Calc before the event had even opened to ask questions and stuff. And it's like,
I think they were. It turned out to be both customers and exhibitors in the end. But yeah, like I was trying to get stuff.
VIP people were allowed in early. Like there was like a breakfast lunch for them or something in the VIP area. So there was like because I don't know if it was a paid upgrade or if it was a thank you upgrade. I don't know what the reasons were. But yeah, like the concept of Fab, I absolutely like, again, the studio bit and all that. I think just for whatever reason, the execution just doesn't quite hit the mark. And I don't know if it's, rushed planning or lack of time or I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. Like, that's way above our pay grade to figure that out,
Yeah.
right? But something doesn't click, and it doesn't click to the point where it just causes frustration. Like, Ask Accountant was frustrated. And you're gonna see that when we finally get the grid walk out. I felt like that wasn't as that I certainly didn't bring my A game to that because I was actually still fuming about the fact that we hadn't even set up yet and that the stuff wasn't set up right and I had all that, you know what I mean? Like, I know this is me being a bit of a diva at this point in time, like, oh, how dare but we're there to do a job. We're there to kind of promote that. Like that's what the grid walk's all about, is to promote how good and how amazing this event is. And if we can't bring our A game to that, that's going to suffer, right? Like, that's not going to happen. And again, we don't want special treatment or anything daft like that, but just give us, don't don't make it more difficult for us to provide that content, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And that just feels like that's how there is a bit of a pushback on stuff at this point, isn't there? And I don't know if 1 day or 2 day, I don't know which is the right topic there. I do see the counter argument that if you're spending all this money on a stand, or you know what I mean, like there's economies of scale argument there, isn't there? That that you get 2 days out of it, but then you've got to put the people up in hotels and get the people down there, and they're the off time, and you can see it both sides, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. Some interesting comments coming in, so let's go through
Let's
those.
start with Sue Green said good morning. Tim said morning. Don Susanna. Clive, do you want to read it?
Clive says sound at stages need to be headphones only. They do, but then you need enough headphones for when you've got a sellout crowd.
Or
So actually, Accountex's solution of use your own headphones, phenomenal. But then there's an issue, like I think Kirsty mentions it in her comment, that there was an issue with apps. Like, so someone came to our stand and they printed the badge out and it didn't have the QR code on it, so I couldn't scan them to get someone in our team to get back to them. And she was there opening the app and it was spinning and spinning and it took so long for the app to open. It to then go to the main page so she could go to the badge page. It just took far too long.
Which I assume is an internet issue, is it? Because internet's not great in there.
Mine was okay in there. It wasn't strong enough to do demos, but it was okay enough to show website links.
But just on the rest, you said there, I could see the edges. Oh yeah, sorry, go for
it. As someone who struggles with hearing, Daz is perfect. The headsets are great if you can get one. That's the problem. Accountex Bluetooth is too laggy. Okay.
Oh, is that the feedback? Okay, because we didn't get a chance to actually listen to any talk. I miss the days where we can go and actually listen to a talk, right, and experience what that's like. But yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, you're always against technology, aren't you? Like in these sort of situations, on paper, we can't say enough. But yeah, if there is lag there, and I don't know what the solution would be. I don't know how you could.
Would that get better? And is that dependent on what phone you've got? Because obviously some phones have got older, slower Bluetooth chips than others. So there's only so much you can do.
Tim also said the VIP section was like a fishbowl. I was not a VIP and didn't feel like I missed out. Well, as someone who was allowed in the VIP section, I feel like you did miss out. To be fair, without that, I probably would have starved because that was the only time I quickly got. I was surviving on their lemon drizzle cake. Felt squished into the room. Could see the edges. Less food choices. No water. I struggled with the app, and also many talks software stands would not listen on the handout. But then they listed our talks as Ask the Accountant on the handout, and then it's like, well, that's great, but you haven't given anywhere to actually listen to it. So we get people turning up to listen to the talks, and like, I mean, you can try and listen in, but yeah.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you
like
think a single? Oh, sorry,
mine
go
and
for it.
Nick's wasn't listed on the handout. They were just on the website. Not that it
Yeah,
stopped our sellout crowd, but you know.
yeah, I know. It's yeah. Marcus says, "Do you think a single day would encourage more attendance to the pre and post event?"
No.
Potentially, but because then the problem with that is that people then want to go home. So post events does
Yeah.
thing, and sometimes the post events are so well attended because, in the nicest possible way, what else have you got to do? Do you know what I mean? If you're there for the night anyway, you could go home, maybe do some, or back to your hotel and do some emails or something, or you can network for a bit. You know what I mean? Like it it
Several
it's
Engager users came over to me on day 2, laughing and joking about how they attended a competitor to Engager's event for free drinks and food with absolutely no intention of even listening to the sales pitch, never mind signing up to anything. And that's the risk that we've never done these pre and post events at Engager, because we know there's going to be a load of freeloaders out there that have got no genuine, like, if we ever do one, it'll probably be an invite only where we invite the people we're targeting. Because how many events have you and I been to, post events have you and I been to for free drinks and stuff, just because that's where everyone is, with absolutely no intention of even looking at the product?
Yeah, I suppose it's brand awareness. Who knows, like,
Isn't it?
what's the right or wrong? But you're right. I mean, especially I think the events where there's multiple ones, I can get behind.
Yeah.
Because you would have thought at least one of them would give you something. I mean, when I was in Vegas, I was going to events that I not even I ever heard of. I couldn't use, even if I wanted to get involved in, because they were America only, right? Like, but I was still happy to go along and take their free merch and free drinks, right? Like the I'm part of the problem here, and it's like, I don't
Now
really
go put a
understand.
pound in the Las Vegas jar that you're not allowed to mention it. Like the square
No,
jar for Aaron is the Las
no,
Vegas
no,
jar.
no. The new rules is everyone has to take a shot, so we're gonna have a lot of.
9
Uh,
o'clock in the morning, great.
yeah, 9 o'clock in the morning. The conversation booths are a nice idea. Yeah, 100%. And that whole
Yeah.
middle area where they could, I mean, that middle area was where the studio was once the Fab Studio. So, am I that happy about it? I don't know. But there is that nice area in the middle where you can, get some work done. But I was confused why it was. I didn't know how you were supposed to get in because you had to scan some of the anyway, whatever. But yeah, there was that. That was a nice bit. It was a notable, not so busy on day 2. I did 5 talks, 1 podcast, and 11 interviews over the 2 days. All talks were busy, which were great. Yeah, the talks were very well attended. I did notice as well, they brought back that whole concept of having tables, round tables that people could do on a couple of talks. We noticed that year 1, didn't we, of Fab, and thought that was
Yeah.
a great idea. They brought that back. They call it a boardroom discussion, something like that. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Like, those sort of innovations, absolutely love. And I think that's where Fab definitely excels at. It's just that conversational, that, talk, that's what they do well, right?
Yeah.
What would be great for a 2-day event is if they go back to the festival idea and have a 1-day headline act each day, like a main stage, and not just the big 4. Actually, that's exactly, in fairness to them, that's what they did, because I was the warm-up for the headline act this year, in the main stage. And I actually thought that main stage is still a really cool idea, that there is a main stage.
Just needs to be
That's
bigger.
It does, but what I'm saying is, in other events, you lose that main. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like there's a main stage, right? It feels like
Yeah.
there's just these, what they call satellite stages around, right? In
Yeah.
Fab, in fairness to them, that main stage aspect, they nailed that. That works really well. It does feel like a main stage. Feels like you can kind of step up. So I do like that. Yeah, exactly. Not strong enough for demos. Isn't that the whole point? Yeah, I mean
No,
that.
to be fair, it's not. No, I love Catherine, but I'll disagree with her on that one. Like, when you're at Fab, an average demo takes 45 minutes to an hour of Engager's time.
I tell what you're saying. Yeah.
So I could only do 6 to 7 demos a day. Whereas if I can have conversations, talk through the key points and stuff, I can have hundreds of conversations each day, take their details and reach out to them and get them booked into a demo where they're completely paying attention. They're not worried about getting to a speaking slot. They're not worried about where the rest of their team are, etc. So yeah, I don't like doing one-to-one demos at these events. Like if you've got a stage area on your stand and you're doing a demo to lots of people, fine, very efficient. But the Fab stand wasn't designed for that. This was about conversations, looking for interest, and getting them scanned ready for them to have a full demo where they can focus and pay attention to it in the following weeks.
I would say the only counter I have that is that more that tips and tricks, because remember at the QuickBooks Connect where we ran that tips and tricks bar, and that's been done at other places.
Yeah, again though, we just didn't have the space for quick tips and tricks. Like,
but if it was just oh, you've got this pain point, this is the reason why.
I had Andy doing a bit of that. But yeah, it was still, yeah. Like even that took time when he could have had more conversations, and we could have done.
Yeah.
We could have booked him in for support sessions after the fact. So, like from a leadership point of view, we're looking at return on investment here. This is not a small investment. Like the stand for 2 days, the artwork, the amount of time and prep the marketing team put into it, that investment of their time, the amount of time it takes to paid staff to go there, their accommodation, their food, their drink costs, etc. For us to get that return on investment, we have to be as efficient as possible on the stand.
Makes sense. Oh, well, I suppose you've got Accountex for showcasing the product as well. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know if you've got the same setup as last time, but that setup is purposely built for that, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yeah. We have a huge stand at Accountex for us to do big group demos, troubleshooting area, all sorts. And we deploy 3-4 times the amount of staff to that event.
Yeah. You now got the wrath of Catherine coming your way, because how dare you disagree?
It's okay, we've got certain panels.
Yeah, exactly. One very a very potent point to make though was it was Jake's last industry event. So if you don't know Jake from the Fab team, from Accounting Excellence team, I'm struggling with his second name. What's his second name? Jake.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't miss Jake. Jake wears a loud shirt and a hat, and he's an absolute gentleman.
Yeah.
He does a lot of writing.
You talk, I'll find out.
So, I mean, Jake's been in it as long as I remember.
Jake Smith.
Jake Smith. There we go. So yeah, when he said it to me that this was his last event and he's leaving the industry, he's going back into the finance world, I'm thrilled for him. He seems really excited and about the opportunity and stuff, which is fantastic. But yeah, I think that's an asset lost to the industry, to say the least. That personality, the character, and his writing.
Yeah, and he was unique, right? Like he just brought that aspect. And I've had so many kind of one-to-one. He's gave me so much advice over the years, like how to deal with this, how to deal with that. Yeah, I personally will very, very much miss his presence in the industry. I just feel like there's no one else to fill that void. Do you know what I mean? It feels like that's a void that's basically closing, and we, as an industry, we're just going to miss out, aren't we? Really?
Yeah. It's a sad departure, but as I say, it sounds like it's a huge opportunity for him. He's really excited, which is great news.
Yeah. I got to see his last.
I will miss not catching up with him at events.
Definitely, I got to see his last talk or panel he was on. So we were presented right next to one of the stages, and got to see that one. So that's a little bit of thing for me. I got to witness his very last panel in the industry. Well, maybe he'll come back later, but for now, his last panel. So yeah, just a big thank you really from the Essican. I think it's people like that like made us realize that there was room in this industry to be a little bit more, unique, isn't it? Like, and that's what we're trying to be in Asset Account, like the grid walks and stuff like that. That like we're trying to be a little bit more than just wandering around aimlessly and trying to be a personality. I think he was one of those who showed that personality it belongs in the industry, right? And I think we'll always be grateful for him for that one. And Susanna says, Jake Smith, yes, thank you for that. Thank you for keeping us honest. So we'll good luck to him. Hopefully it goes well. Company's house breach is our next topic. Oh,
Speaking of things that aren't going well.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on? I always felt like Company's House were always on top of everything that's going on. Like they successfully launched ACSP, no problems whatsoever, no issues, no problems whatsoever. That's sarcasm, by the way, for anyone who doesn't realize. And now it turns out that you could have got access to, there was a period where you could get access to any client, any accounts, back end Company's House. Have you got the details of what the breach was? Because all I've seen is just there was a breach, and my surprise face was like, oh, kind of, that's what I expect.
I don't know the technical side of it. I don't think they yet know. All they know is there was an issue, and they don't know how long that issue was there for. So basically, there was a issue where fraudsters could log into Company's House and access other companies' details and make changes and filings on their behalf.
Yeah, make changes. That's my favorite bit.
So great, wonderful. What they're still ascertaining is how long that issue was there for and how many businesses may or may not have been impacted. But yeah, like maybe instead of faffing around with new ideas and new rules, let's actually make the system work in the first place. But I mean, technically, it's a non-issue soon. Once they stop you from being able to file accounts and stuff through their Company's House webpage, that reduces the risk, doesn't it? Because you have to use software and APIs. So,
yeah, I mean, they can still update addresses and stuff, can't they? They'll still be able to cause havoc, but you're right. Yeah, it'd be less of a problem.
What you need is like a practice management tool that notifies you when address changes happen each morning. And then you can ask your client, did you change your address? No. All right, we might have a problem here. Obviously, not everybody's got that at all.
I mean, maybe prevent the issue in the first place is your top priority. Than a tool to tell you. Yeah.
I've just got a safety net against it.
Yeah. I mean, this is just what is going on. Like, again, we compare Company's House to HMRC. HMRC is becoming a shining light of brilliance. Do you know what I mean? In comparison, if you compare HMRC, and that's what scares me. Like we're putting HMRC as this, like, wow, they understand what's going on. They're on top of everything.
Have you seen what they've done to solve it?
Go on, what have they done?
They've just turned off all the APIs on the website.
Oh,
so for the last few days, no one can file a confirmation statement, amendments, accounts, or anything. And naturally, this is our problem as accountants and clients and directors of companies. So if we file something and it can't be done because they've turned off their API, then we have to screenshot it to show we tried. And when they send us a penalty, we've got to then write to them and with the picture of the screenshot to say we've tried, and they'll waiver the penalty. It's very generous of them.
That's by pigeon mail, wasn't it? I remember. I think I saw on the TV.
Yeah, that's snail mail.
Yeah.
Which they ain't opening quickly, I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Oh my days! And the thing is, though, and again, maybe it's down to us, but it reminded me of when I logged in this morning and kind of went through tickets and stuff, and there's like 6 rejected, and your first assumption is, without knowing this, and I hadn't even put 2 and 2 together, that's originally about that's what it is. Now you've just reminded me that's what it is. But the first thing is like, oh, what have they done? Like, what's the team done now? Like, have they done this
What's the
wrong, or
software
what's
done?
the client done, or what's the software done? Like, your first reaction is, right, well, we're gonna have to fix this problem, right? Where was the communication to say, oh, by the way, because of this issue, we've
They've been quite good at emailing out everything else recently.
yeah,
Why
yeah,
haven't they emailed us about this yet?
yeah. Or sending mail out to say, don't worry, your accountant will sort that. They're your
Yeah,
ACSP
yeah.
providers. They'll deal with it for you. Oh, come on. Come on. Like, this is just yeah, it is. It is. And this is the thing, right? Like, we want this database is so important to us. This company's house database is such an important asset to the whole economic climate of the UK, right? To have it this vulnerable, like, does not make sense at all. Like, the
Nope.
yeah, yeah. I mean, also, just to put salt in the wound, we've just had to all spend more on our confirmation statement, every other cost that's associated with it, and we're getting a worse service for it. That's what everyone wants, isn't it? Yeah, that's how to keep everyone happy. You know what I mean? Like, let's pay more to get less. Yeah, let's all do that. So yeah, I don't know what else we can say about this
I mean,
topic other than
what else
mm,
is there to say other than, my God, what a mess? And just the lack of communication. Like,
yeah,
the amount of people that were in Facebook groups this weekend saying, "Everything's getting rejected. Is there a problem somewhere?" And everyone's like,
yeah,
"Yeah, quite a big problem. Here's the headline."
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I just can't believe they've not communicated it to us. What was the point in everyone having a company registered email address for the last year, which they're very happy to email us about all the other stuff on,
Marketing, basically. Yeah.
but they aren't willing to email us to say, "We've had to take the system down due to an issue."
Yeah. Yeah. And, and then subsequent update later down the line to say, right, we've detected it was between this and this. Make sure, go check to make sure there's been no filings or anything in between that period because there's a risk that that could be fraudulent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
take the initiative, put on the front foot. Yeah, you're right. Having quality software to see this is definitely that's what we should all learn from this, right?
But that's not what we built it for.
No, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So
It's a nice
frustrating.
little
Again,
marketing angle for it right now.
yeah. I could see your cogs ticking, and you're about to send the message over to the marketing
Marketing.
team. Yeah. Oh, what can we say? And again, it puts HMRC in a good light, and yeah, the bar. It's just so yeah. Anyway, all right. We've got some product updates for you. First of all, Zero. Zero's got some updates that you wanted to share. In fact, your exact words were, "This looks good for. This should be something we talk about on Monday." Another one for tomorrow. Do you want to explain what they what you're excited about?
Yeah, so Zero have launched an update last week. That means that you can now, I'm not going to use their wording because it upsets Mr. Patrick over there in the corner. So we're not going to use the
Oh,
R word.
I was about to jump in then.
It enables you to match a credit note to money leaving a bank account, which you can't do it in bloody QuickBooks, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Not. It can't find. It doesn't recommend it.
It does. If you've marked it as paid from the bank, it will say match. Job done.
Okay.
Because my whole point here, this is a good thing, right? This is
Oh, this is
one
phenomenal. Like,
software.
we are
Yeah,
beyond excited. Like, the team are excited
yeah,
for this tiny, what seems like a tiny update, but
yeah.
basically, if you have, say, £600 leaving your bank account because you've done a refund or something like that, and you've raised a credit note, the credit note will now automatically recommend to be matched in
Mm,
Zero and be applied against that payment, which is phenomenal.
yeah. And this is those little tiny little pain points, isn't it? That accountants, bookkeepers, and some of that maybe more like what's the phrase? Power user customers, right? Crying out for this because they can see it in another solution, and another solution does it like Sage and all the others and QuickBooks, and like and in their mind they're like, well, it must be simple because that system can do it super easy, right? And this is an example of where actually it's probably been quite a tricky ask to get to that point, right? They probably had to go down a whole different route, and it wasn't just a simple like switch on go in the code and do a bit of vibe coding as they call nowadays, right? And then switch it on or go in the background and just tick a little box or something. I can imagine this is one of those ones where it's been actually quite a tricky technical part to get through. But this is why we love having multiple solutions, don't we? To show you that that it can be done, and
Yeah.
and this and this, and then they can keep vibing for it and then trying to fight for it. And it's really quite interesting how it's those small little things that we sit on. Like I'll always remember the story at QuickBooks when there was this one person who finally figured out how to make it so that when you file your VAT return and you press that file button, you can set it so that it automatically went on the date that the payment was going to come out on, right? So the 7th, right? Instead of the date that you press file, because that
Yep.
caused you pain down the line of having to reconcile it. And you know what I mean? Like it's such a small, tiny, 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 tiny adjustment. But it makes such
But
a
those
difference.
tiny adjustments are more important than any AI gimmick they can release, or
Yeah, I
UI.
wouldn't go far as any AI gimmick, but yes, they are
I
far more important than some of the flashy, like big, like, oh, look at this. Like we openly criticized last week that there wasn't a product announcement at QuickBooks Connect, right? But actually it was those little things that Nick came along and spoke about. I remember the year before it was now you can file CIS in bulk. Yeah, you've got the attention of every person in that room there because every person in that room goes, oh, that's gonna save me a lot of time. I'll always, 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 always remember the day that they said that, Go Cardless was gonna connect directly with QuickBooks. I generally whooped at that point, and I was the only one in the room whooping, and everyone stopped and looked at me, but I was that excited. Yeah, but I was that excited because that was hours upon hours upon hours a month saved by
Yep.
one announcement and one adjustment. And and that we've got to celebrate these more often. And that's why we do QuickBooks Labs and Sage Savvy and Jax no just us Jaxie, isn't it? Is our 01 that we're trying to get off the ground. Like we want to do it to celebrate those small things, right? Because I feel like even them, they don't want to celebrate it. I mean, how did you find out about this? Just out of curiosity, what was it an email or?
I've not gone through my emails yet. I saw it over the weekend, but I saw it on Facebook groups that other users shouting about how good this is.
And this is it, right? Like that's that's where we are finding these gems out is typically from
There's probably
outside of.
an email in my marketing box with 800 other
Mm,
emails since last week,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I've
yeah,
just not got through to them yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good though. No, that's really good news. Clive jumps in with QBO update item receipt. Woohoo! Can now book in stock before entering a bill. It makes me feel really sad, Clive, because these are sort of updates we've had for such a while, and
Now
unfortunately, the
I need
rest of the world product it takes even long. And America had it before us, right? So it's like it's a cascading thing. But yeah,
yeah,
it is a big update. Just context what that means. It means that you don't have to. You can update your stock basically directly from the bank. So as items come in, you can put them in there and go from there. So yeah, big, 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 big update there, Clive. Loving that. Let's cover this last one and then do we tease the one after that? We'll talk about it in a minute. Sage have started a new partnership with SumUp. So anyone who doesn't aware of what SumUp provides to the table, they're an EPOS solution, so electronic point of sale, and some really nice things. I was trying to see if I can quickly grab the SumUp machine. In fact, one you quickly talk while I grab this.
yeah. Right. So SumUp is like a card machine. It's one of those things that you can just put in your pocket. You can take it around. Great for market stalls, farmers markets, stuff like that. And then taxi drivers have a lot of them nowadays as well. I find, and so does my window cleaner. To be able to get payments collected quickly, cheaply, and straight into the bank. And I'm running out of things to say about a card reader, Aaron.
So I came show and tell. Yeah, no, they've got a really nice one actually. I've been playing around with it a lot. I want to make sure I get. Oh, that's the square one. Yeah, here it is. This little sum up terminal here. So really nice all in one for listeners. It's just very similar to what Square produced a while back. So think of like a mobile phone, but with a attached receipt thing on the top. I actually have done quite a bit of work with SumUp lately in terms of like videos and stuff like that. And really, really liking their product. One of the things that has been frustrating with all of these EPOS solutions at the moment is they seem to favor one FMS solution over the other to have their integration. For example, Square sits nicely with Zero. They've always had kind of a really good integration with there, and it kind of pushes that through. And then let's talk about QuickBooks had a really good relationship with Zettel. Now they're called PayPal, and they had a direct integration from there. So it almost felt like you were advising your client to, what FMS solution based on what EPOS they might already have. And sometimes you have to have that awkward conversation. Well, yeah, that's great, but if you'd have moved to this one, we could, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want that. We want this to be an open source. Why all these EPOS systems can't just connect to all of them is beyond me.
Yeah, commercial agreements. There's money involved. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I definitely know that was to do with one of those I've just spoken about. So yeah, you're right. But now Sage and SumUp have got a relationship. I'm curious as well because SumUp own a solution called GoodTill, or they bought GoodTill, which is quite a big EPOS solution out there. I assume that this also means that the GoodTill and SumUp are both included in this relationship going forward. It'd be great to find out if that's the case or not. But it's a good thing. Like we love these sort of connections and stuff like that. And with MTD, it's just one step closer, isn't it, to get that information in there. So any other bits you want to bring into the SumUp and Sage announcement?
No, I think the more FMS solutions connect to the more payment providers, the more choice. Like we shouldn't have to turn around to a client and either dictate the FMS solution based on the till system they've got, or the till system based on the FMS solution you've got. Like it just shouldn't be like that. So the more integrations, the better.
Yeah, I know our EPOS expert Tim. I don't know. It was mixed feelings about this news because I feel for him, he definitely still much prefers those less like corporate EPOS solution. These big boys like you big three, Zettel, SumUp, and Square. I know he's got a kind of affiliation to more customizable ones, shall we say, more you've what do you call it ones. And he's still a big advocate for not having integration. He says ECAs is more pain than it's worth. But for the ones that we've had with these like bigger boys having these connections with these bigger FMS solutions, flawless once they're up and running in our experience. There's a bit of settle pain and there's a bit of kind of knowledge needed to kind of get those, get them to the right VAT codes and all that sort of stuff and everything else and all that sort of stuff that goes through. But I know our, video content, and we look at our kind of content, those EPOS solutions, those integration solutions, always high up. So yeah, no, I'm happy about that. Stuart's brings a good point in here. Let's chat about a free agent session to get these updates discussed. Stu and the team shipped multiple small win updates last week based on user feedback.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but yeah, Stu, if he reaches out to us and lets us know what it is, we'll cover them next week. That's not an issue. That half the battle for us is knowing what's been happening. We can't keep eyes on everything. So if people tell us directly what's happening, or if we see something on social media, like even the company's house breach, that came from social media originally. I sent Aaron a link to the Financial Times. I don't read the Financial Times generally. But yeah, so yeah, if you've got updates, if any software's got updates that they want us to cover, please send them in and we will happily dig into them and tell you what our thoughts are.
It's almost like we need a free agent podcast, which we have tried. we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, we will we will we will keep the community updated as it going on. But it is, yeah, I think, QuickBooks Labs for me holds a really special place because it is about just getting geeky about those small little updates, right? And they are mostly those tiny ones that are the good success stories.
No matter how
Um,
much they hurt you.
well, yeah, I mean, the bigger stories normally are more painful and normally kind of a pain point, and especially when we get to talk about the final topic we have for today, which unfortunately we ran out, and that's a shame, isn't it? Kirsty St. John says, I was begging free agent for multiple attachments and had good chats with Apron about being able to switch things off or at least default off. Yeah, I mean, definitely with with someone like Apron where they're still in that really agile stage, that's one of the nicest things about it, isn't it? Where you're able to kind of, oh, I wish it could do this, and then literally we'll always remember that conversation we had at was it a QuickBooks event, and we said, oh, it's a shame that it can't do this, this, and this, and then by the end of the event they came back, oh, by the way, that's not live.
Yeah, but I also Kirsty wants things turned off by default. The problem with that approach is then you get feedback saying, "Oh, can you do this?" It's like, yeah, you just need to go and turn it on. People are unaware; they don't dig. So it's a catch-22 for a software provider. Of if I turn everything off, then I get a load of feedback saying it can't. Oh, your product doesn't do this. It's like, actually, it has. It can. It has done for years. You've just not turned it on. Whereas if you turn it on, people get overwhelmed and people don't like everything working. Yeah, it's catch-22 for software vendors. I sympathise with Apron to say the least with that, and users both wanting different things.
Yeah, I can imagine there's been some frank conversations happening in the product development of Engager going forward. Catherine comes in and says, 100% with you, Tim. The integrations can be a real pain. Looking at you, Xero and Square. I thought that was pretty flawless, but then again, I don't use Square and I don't use Xero very often. So, who am I to say that that's Catherine's obviously more qualified to say this. But that's interesting though. I know the QuickBooks and Zeta one is pretty much flawless, but we've pushed that time and time
For
again.
now, remember when QuickBooks and GoCardless was flawless, and now it can't handle the chargeback fee and breaks all the journals.
That's been fixed now. That's been fixed. Yeah,
is it?
It sounds like a bit of a user error, if you ask me. Someone who logs into QuickBooks once a month, if that.
I have to put gloves and a face mask on when I go in.
Oh, and there we have it. There's been our exciting episode of Ask the Accountant, episode number 176. Look, we're not far away from that 200, are we? We're going to have to start thinking about what's going on there, going through from there. Speaking of the network, though, just so you're all aware, we recorded some really good conversations over Fab. We have an extra episode of the weekly show that me and Tim did, where we dived into the wonderful world of events, and maybe I had another moan about the situation we were in with Fab. Maybe that's part and parcel of that you might want to listen to. We brought back the MTD Watch series, as we only have 15 days to go as it stands at this moment until it goes well, it's longer than that because it's the 4th or 5th, even 20 days, let's say, to go until that comes live. And maybe I dropped a bombshell that as I was one of the very first to do the submission, so I was in that alpha when there was 5 of us in the UK, as I've also filed in VR an MTD submission, and I felt like I was really on top of it and everything else. Because of a certain bombshell, everything's been blown into things. So yeah, you definitely listening to the MTD Watch series. Susanna and hashtag Audit Amy have their views as well. Anything you want to add to that, Johan?
Is that the bombshell we've kind of walked around today to avoid?
Past 2 weeks that we keep kicking down the string.
I'm in charge next week. We are talking about this bombshell next week for a
Please,
whole hour. If anyone wants to watch Aaron squirm and cry and look uncomfortable, Next week's going to be a fantastic episode for you.
So, vendors out there and companies house, please, please, please give us lots of topics to talk about next week.
I'm in charge next week. I get to prioritize. I'm dealing with the bombshell.
I think Company's House should be. Let's have a proper breach next week. Company's House. Let's please. Yeah, and then also on the network as well was a bonus. Speaking of Kirsty putting a bomb emoji in there, we had our bonus show. So if you are a Patreon listener at any level, you can come along and listen to our bonus show, which will go live later this week, later this month, should I say. And it was a juicy episode where we got our community involved, as in Kirsty. And we also gave a appraisal of Ask the Accountant, which, we've got some work to do in the background, Johann.
Look, you get my time for free. I mean, if they ain't happy with it, I can leave. I've got other things to do.
It was a juicy episode, so make sure you get involved on that one. And we did a trailer for a new episode coming your way. Yeah, I can't say much more than that, but there's another Ask the Accountant Network podcast coming your way with two very, very good and there's a third that's involved as well. Very, very prominent people in the industry that I think you'll all be excited for. And there we are. There's our episode. Anything you want to add, Johann? Anything people should look out for? You doing anything this week that they should come along to? Any webinars or anything?
No, I'm just cracking on this week, trying to get ahead of everything, trying to deal with all the aftermath of Fab.
Yeah, sounds that way. Right, well, my name's been Patrick. That's been Johann Gorey. This has been Ask the Accountant, and we will see you this time. Oh, it's the week after that we're figuring out, isn't it? Next week's as planned. All right, everyone, have a great one. Speak to you all soon, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.